Doe for the Dodo is a 1949 Warner Brothers Merrie Melodies cartoon directed by Freleng, and this is actually a remake of Robert Clampitt's Porky in Wacky Land, which was released in 1938. That was a black and white cartoon with a very similar narrative where Porky Pig goes off to try and find this rare bird, this rare dodo, and while looking for the dodo, he enters this place called Wacky Land, and in Wacky Land, as you can imagine, wacky and wonderful things happen. And I'm not going to do any direct comparison here between Porky and Wacky Land and Doe for the Dodo. I will just say that they're very similar, but the action on screen is not exactly frame for frame, shot for shot, but there are a lot of similarities. And I don't have a favourite. I liked them both. I thought they were both fun. I can't pick a favourite, but if you do have a favourite between the two, feel free to let me know. What happens on screen is definitely very creative, it's very fun. I think what works maybe slightly better with Doe for the Dodo is the array of bright, vibrant colours that we have. The creatures are all kinds of different colours, so visually it's maybe a little bit more compelling, but obviously the 1938 one is a product of its time. And I liked the dodos in this. I thought they worked very well. I like that sense of irony that Porky Pig is looking for this dodo, and well, what he finds is not what he expects to find, but we as the viewer know maybe a little bit more. And there are some really fascinating or fantastic characters in this, whichever word you prefer. And I found it to be engaging. It's not as fun as I'd hoped, and that was the same experience I had with Porky and Wacky Land. I really liked that. It was very creative, but it maybe wasn't quite as engaging as what I'd hoped, and I know I said I wasn't going to compare them directly, but I think this is worth mentioning. I think maybe they could have done just a little bit more to make it even just a little bit wackier. But I've seen quite a lot of wacky animations. It's one of my favourite things to look out for, so I guess I had quite high expectations. Certainly it's not tame, but they could have pushed the boat a little bit further. But I enjoyed it well enough. I liked how it concluded. I'm not going to say any more about that, of course. I don't want to spoil it. I thoroughly recommend you watch it. If you haven't seen Porky and Wacky Land, I'd say give that a watch first, just so you can compare them and see what they're like. And it's interesting to see kind of where they decided to make certain changes and things when they recreated it, because it's not very often that you get to recreate animations. Or anything, of course, because most people will create fresh content. Recreating it was certainly very interesting, but I think it worked. It worked well. On its own, it's delightful, but I kind of prefer to watch it with Porky and Wacky Land in mind. Doe for the Dodo is definitely worth watching.